Take the exit. Turn right into the drive-thru.
Nope, I'm making dinner tonight.
You don't have time. Josh has practice.
Oh, that's right. I'll just get a salad.
And fries?
No, just the salad.
But salad cancels fries.
Salad only.
Fries.
Salad.
Fries.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. The affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on the road to successful weight loss.
Hey, can I get the...
Fries.
Salad. Sorry.
Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Shopify. Starting a business is filled with a lot of what-ifs. What if I fail? What if nobody listens to the podcast? What if nobody cares? It can definitely be hard to get over that doubt and uncertainty, but making that leap was one of the best things I've ever done, and it's great to know that I'm not alone with a business partner like Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Heinz and Mattel to brands just getting started. And I'm telling you, their tools really do feel like you have a business partner. They have hundreds of ready-to-use templates to help build a beautiful online store that matches your brand. You can also get the word out like you have an entire marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And if you get stuck, Shopify is always there to help with their award-winning 24/7 customer service. It's time to turn those what-ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/justice. Go to shopify.com/justice. That's shopify.com/justice. If you or someone you know needs mental health help, text STRENGTH to the crisis text line at 741-741 to be connected to a certified crisis counselor. If you or someone you know is considering suicide, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK or go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org.
Voices for Justice is a podcast that uses adult language and discusses sensitive and potentially triggering topics, including violence, abuse, and murder. This podcast may not be appropriate for younger audiences. All parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Some names have been changed or omitted per their request or for safety purposes. Listener discretion is advised.
My name is Sarah Turney, and this is Voices for Justice. Today, I'm discussing the case of Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker. This is a case that's unfolding as I record this episode, and it needs as many eyes on it as possible. I will warn you that this is going to be a difficult episode, but it's incredibly important. At the end of May 2025, Whitney Decker reported her 3 daughters missing after their father, Travis Decker, failed to return them after their scheduled visit with him. She reported them missing less than 2 hours after they were due back home with her. However, a few days later, the girls were found deceased. Travis Decker has been charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, but has not yet been located. He is considered to be dangerous, a threat to himself, and a threat to others. Like I said, this case needs as many eyes as possible on it. So let's dig in and see how we can help. This is the case of Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker. It's Friday, May 30th, 2025 in Wenatchee, Washington, and Whitney Decker is growing increasingly concerned because her ex-husband, 32-year-old Travis Decker, is late dropping off their 3 daughters after their scheduled visit. Paityn is 9, Evelyn is 8, and Olivia is just 5 years old. It was just a day visit, and they were supposed to be dropped off at 8 p.m., but Travis is late, and he isn't answering his phone. In fact, by this time, it was turned off completely. Now, in order to really understand this case, we need to talk about the circumstances that led up to this point. Basically, why Whitney is immediately freaked out when Travis is late without communicating why. Travis Decker used to have overnight visits with the girls, but Whitney asked for a modification to their parenting plan after she found out that Travis was living in an armory. He was in the National Guard and had a hard time finding and keeping stable housing. According to a statement from the Wenatchee Police Department, they believe Travis may have also been living in his vehicle at various hotels and motels, or even campgrounds in the area. But the bottom line is he did not have stable housing for 3 young girls. Through a variety of statements Whitney has made through her lawyer, Ariana Cozart, she has stated that Travis was never violent towards her or the girls. She described Travis as a present and active father, a father who attended their soccer games, dance, and theater performances. She also said that he was a good co-parent who was always in communication with her. She says that even if Travis was going to be just a few minutes late, he would let her know. So to me, it makes sense that Whitney was immediately alarmed when Travis was late to drop off their daughters without telling her about it. While Travis is far from perfect, this does appear to be out of the ordinary for him. According to statements from Whitney's lawyer to ABC News, Whitney and Travis were married for 10 years. They met online when Travis was stationed at the Joint Army Air Force Base in Washington. They also lived in Italy for 2 years and Georgia for another 2 before moving to Wenatchee Valley. But she says that Travis's mental health really began to decline around 2023 when he got out of the active reserves. She says he would scream in the middle of the night, soak the bed, and only get 1 to 2 hours of sleep. They ultimately got divorced in 2023. According to Whitney's lawyer, the primary reasons were Travis's, quote, mental health struggles, including feelings of isolation, paranoia, and borderline personality disorder, end quote. She added that Travis was the one who initiated the divorce because he, quote, felt like he wasn't worth it, end quote. Now, like I said, Travis is a veteran, and after serving as an Army Ranger in Afghanistan, he was diagnosed with complex PTSD as a result of combat. In 2021, he transferred from the active component of the U.S. military to the Washington National Guard. He is still pending a disciplinary discharge for failing to attend monthly drills. It looks like he hasn't gone since 2024. Whitney did have full custody of their children, but Travis also had visitation rights. While visiting Travis at the armory, the girls called Whitney crying, saying they couldn't find their dad anywhere. Whitney also says that one of the girls was injured on the workout equipment there. She was uncomfortable with them being around a lot of strange men, and that they showed an overall emotional disruption after visiting with their father. Whitney says that she felt that they were overall being neglected while in his care. So in September 2024, she asked her judge in Chelan County Superior Court to modify the parenting plan. Travis did defend himself in court. As of recording this episode, they are still looking for Travis. So I'm going to play a clip of him speaking in court so you can understand what his voice sounds like.
Every time I've had the girls, we have been in campsites in national forests and paid campsites that have campers. We've never done anything that was unsafe or anything I wouldn't want to put myself in. I understand that my current position when I'm by myself isn't ideal, but my daughters aren't a part of that. I only get to see them over the weekends, and camping is something that the 4 of us have done since the 3 of them were in diapers. I've never done anything I feel like that puts them in any sort of a risk that most families in the state of Washington, every campsite we've been to in the last month have been almost completely booked out or sold out because everybody's out this time of year.
Ultimately, the judge sided with Whitney. They decided it was in the girls' best interest to no longer have overnight visits with Travis until he found more stable housing outside of the armory, but they still allowed him to continue seeing the girls through scheduled visits. He could see them for 3 hours on Fridays and 8 hours every other weekend under the condition that he stayed in Wenatchee Valley. Travis was also ordered by the court to seek mental health treatment, attend anger management counseling, and undergo a full psychiatric evaluation. Otherwise, Whitney would have the choice to limit visitations with the girls. And ultimately, Travis did not comply. So fast forward a few months to Friday, May 30th, 2025. Travis is now late dropping the girls off and not answering Whitney's phone calls. Again, he was supposed to drop them off by 8 p.m. By 9:45, Whitney reports them missing to the Wenatchee Police Department. According to reporting by the New York Times, she specifically mentions that Travis was experiencing mental health issues. And this department does want to immediately issue an Amber Alert, but the Washington State Patrol declines it. They say this case just didn't meet the criteria of children being in immediate danger. Really, they seem to see it as just a custody dispute, and they argue that they see this all the time. But this is a decision that I must imagine still haunts those with the power to make it to this day. This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Chewy. If you have pets, you probably know about Chewy, and you also know that when they say that they have everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy, they're not messing around. To keep them happy, Chewy has over 100,000 products from all the brands my pets love at prices I love. To keep them healthy, Chewy offers pet prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and they're even rolling out vet clinics across the country. I've been shopping with them for a very long time. And in addition to the auto ship feature that gets the dog's food to them every single month, I also love to experiment with different treats. But I'm a bit picky. For me, it has to be high quality with simple ingredients. I recently picked up treats from Shepherd Boy Farms that are 100% just chicken breast. Popcorn and Heber are already obsessed. Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. And right now, you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewpanions.chewy.com/SarahETurney. That's chewpanions.chewy.com/SarahETurney to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. chewpanions.chewy.com/SarahETurney. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
The following day, on Saturday, May 31st, the Wenatchee Police Department did issue an endangered missing persons alert, saying that 3 young girls were believed to be missing and unable to return home on their own. They also reiterated that the investigation had not met Amber Alert criteria. Unfortunately, because this was, for the most part, treated as a custody dispute, this really wasn't treated as an all-hands-on-deck type of situation when it came to searching for the girls. And on Monday, June 2nd, the Washington State Patrol announced that they were canceling the Endangered Missing Persons Alert. But they didn't say why. It wasn't until the following day, June 3rd, that they issued a press release announcing that Travis's truck was found by a deputy on patrol on the 2nd at 3:45 p.m. near the Rock Island Campground in Chelan County, Washington. Travis was not located. And this next part is going to be hard to hear. All 3 girls, Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia, were also found deceased near Travis's truck. It was later revealed that they were suffocated. Plastic bags were placed over their heads, and zip ties bound their wrists. Travis was already facing charges for custodial interference, but in a press conference, law enforcement announced that Travis was now being charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of kidnapping. They added, quote, "It is unknown whether Decker is currently armed, but he may pose a significant risk if approached," end quote. It's obviously just the worst-case scenario. But let's take a moment to break down what we know about this area, scene, and Travis to get a better understanding of what may have happened here and where Travis may have gone after this. When you look at a map of the Rock Island campground, it is absolutely surrounded by forest, and it backs right up to Grindstone Mountain. There are also many creeks in the area. This is a first-come, first-served campsite with 20 single sites and 2 double sites. It's not terribly far from Wenatchee, where Travis picked up the girls. It's about 40 miles or just over an hour drive. It's a part of the larger Rocky Mountain Recreation Area as a whole. You can camp, hike, fish. It has just about everything. And this is very rugged terrain. Lots of trees, brush, water sources, hills, and mountains. While some areas look like they might be easy to navigate, like the designated trails and roads, there's also just a lot of untouched wilderness. Now, let's talk about the crime scene itself. There was a campsite found near Travis's truck. It seems like it wasn't right next to it, but within walking distance. Here they found a tent, cooler, and a campfire. But the primary crime scene really does appear to be Travis's truck, which again is about where the girls were found. According to reporting by Fox 13 Seattle, there were 2 bloody handprints on Travis's truck, a white 2017 GMC Sierra. Inside, they found a variety of items, like blankets, food, car seats, and a wallet, presumably belonging to Travis. They also found zip ties and plastic bags. At the site, they also found Travis's dog, who was alive and later turned over to the Humane Society. As far as I could find, authorities have not stated if the dog was injured. And this is an important detail, because according to the sheriff's office, quote, blood samples were taken from the scene, have come back positive for belonging to a male, and another was not human blood, end quote. They added that further DNA and fingerprint analysis are still being conducted. Right now, we don't know if that blood belongs to Travis or if the non-human blood belongs to his dog. But I will say, just pure speculation here, if the human blood didn't belong to Travis, I think authorities would let us know that he's likely traveling with someone else, or that they believe someone else was involved. But that hasn't happened. So I do think it's safe to assume for now that it does likely belong to Travis. Whether he was injured somehow or hurt himself is obviously unclear. As for the non-human blood, of course, I really hope it doesn't belong to his dog. But with his survival skills, I don't think it's unrealistic to believe that it may belong to an animal he hunted at some point. But again, that is just speculation. However, this does lead me to discussing more of what we know about Travis, his possible mindset, and ability to survive in the wilderness as authorities believe he might be. According to the U.S. Marshals Service affidavit, Travis made a few concerning internet searches before his visitation with the girls, including how to relocate to Canada and how does a person move to Canada. It also seems that he was looking at potential job openings through a Canadian job site. And according to reporting by Fox 13 Seattle, his cell phone activity showed that he had visited the same campground the day prior to kidnapping the girls, which would make sense for the first-degree murder charges he's facing. They also discovered that his phone was turned off at about 6 p.m. on May 30th. Chelan County Sheriff Mike Morrison told the media that Travis does basically have a lifetime of experience being in this type of wilderness. He says that he spent a lot of time camping and being in the wilderness as a kid, and that it continued into adulthood. In addition to the survival skills he learned in the military, Travis has a passion for the outdoors, and according to his dad, would spend up to 2.5 months at a time in nature. He also participated in caching, basically hiding supplies in different areas for future use. At the press conference, Mike Morrison announced a $20,000 reward being offered by the U.S. Marshal's Office for information leading to his arrest, and asked Travis to turn himself in, saying, quote, Travis, if you're listening, this is your opportunity to turn yourself in. Do the right thing. Do what you need to do and take accountability for your actions. We're not going to rest, and we're going to make sure we find you. You will be brought to justice. Those young ladies deserve it. End quote. But he added that they had no leads on where Travis could be, saying he could be anywhere in the nation. And while he didn't say this, I don't think it's unreasonable to believe that he may have been headed out of the nation as well, possibly to Canada due to his internet searches and proximity to Washington.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This episode of Voices for Justice is brought to you by Quince. I've been trying to be more intentional about what I wear each day. I'm leaning into pieces that feel effortless, comfortable, and still put together. And Quince has been my go-to. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are flattering, and everything just works without overthinking it. They use premium materials like 100% European linen, organic cotton, and ultra-soft denim. And the best part? Everything is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They work directly with ethical factories and cut out the middlemen, so you're paying for quality and craftsmanship. not brand markup. I recently just ordered their tiered linen dress, of course in black. I wanted to pair it with one of my favorite pairs of brown wedges. The problem was, I didn't have a brown purse. So I got that from Quince too. It's one of my favorite outfits. It's easy, effortless, and feels amazing, especially as we're getting a little bit warmer here in Phoenix. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/justice for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/justice for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/justice. On June 8th, so just a little over a week into the investigation, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office referred the case to federal authorities while still leading the criminal investigation. On their Facebook page, they wrote, quote, "We had reached a point where we needed to rest our local resources. Our command staff continues to be engaged with the search command while we give our teams time off to rest and recuperate and be ready to rejoin the search for and capture of the suspect." End quote. So at this point, the FBI, Border Patrol, and the U.S. Marshal's Office are involved in the search for Travis. They're also joined by about half a dozen other law enforcement agencies in the surrounding area. But according to reporting by King 5 News, the FBI and U.S. Marshal's Office are expected to take the lead on this case and manhunt. They are, of course, scouring the area of the campsite and the vast wilderness that surrounds it. As of shortly before recording this episode, Sheriff Morrison told King 5 News that their efforts have spanned over 2,900 square miles. So this is a huge search area. This case has also been extensively covered by local and national news outlets, and there have been some reported sightings of Travis. There's been a sighting near the unincorporated community of Teanaway in Kittitas County, and their local law enforcement has since gotten involved. Reports from concerned citizens have come from Idaho, Texas, Canada, and even as far as England. I mean, really, unfortunately, with about a 3-day head start, it seems like Travis could have traveled almost anywhere. But there has been at least one, what appears to be credible sighting of Travis. A hiking party in Chelan County near the Enchantments in the Alpine Lakes Wilderness area of the Cascade Mountain Range reported seeing a lone hiker in the area. They described him as ill-prepared for the trail and weather conditions, and that he seemed to be avoiding other people. A helicopter was dispatched on June 10th, and they also spotted the lone hiker, but they quickly ran from sight near Kolchak Lake. And the Chelan County Sheriff's Office did post on their Facebook page to say that they believe this person was Travis Decker. They added, quote, "Teams later picked up a trail and deployed canines to the area, tracking the subject to the area of Ingalls Creek Trailhead on Highway 97, end quote. They've also urged anyone staying in cabins in the area to lock their doors and cars, and to check any video footage they may have. Quote, "If you have any cameras, including trail cameras in the area, please check them, or submit a tip to the U.S. Marshal's tip line with a location of the camera for law enforcement to check," end quote. Now, these trails are still open, but they have urged people in the area to remain vigilant. It seems like they really are exhausting all resources in looking for Travis Decker. They've even partnered with a psychic to follow their lead. But of course, as of recording this episode, they are still looking for Travis. Which I do want to make very clear, because unfortunately, there has been some misinformation in this case as well. A TikTok video was created and circulated stating that Travis Decker had been taken into custody after a standoff with law enforcement. But the sheriff's office has come out to say that that video is false. He is not in custody, and their office did not participate in the creation of that video. Now, while they are still searching for Travis, Whitney's lawyer told People magazine that she believes it's likely he died by suicide. And I really do want to take a moment to honor what Whitney has been telling the media through statements made by her lawyer. We are outsiders in this case. Me, you listening, the media, the authorities, but Whitney isn't. She was married to this man for 10 years. She knows the complexities of his conditions and what is and isn't normal behavior for Travis. She also knows his struggles. She said Travis was attempting to seek care, but ultimately wasn't able to do so. She added that the system failed Travis, saying he was unable to receive help through veteran resources. Quote, "The courts didn't fail these girls. It wasn't the judge and it wasn't Whitney. It was our system. Whitney feels like the system really let Travis down. If someone would have provided Travis with the help that he needed, those girls would be alive." He had some mental health issues and some instability in his life that really led to the restrictions as far as overnight visitation, or him taking them out of the area. But other than that, he loved those girls very much, and him and Whitney were able to communicate on a regular basis, not just as co-parents, but as friends. End quote. Now, this next part has been a hot topic of debate in this case. I've seen reports of a neighbor coming out to discuss possible domestic abuse. There's also been discussion of that as far as the custody case went. I don't know what's truth, what's rumor, and what's in between. I can only report on what I've seen. That's why I'm depending on all these quotes from Whitney's lawyer, and I do think it's really important to note here that she says that there were no red flags before this happened, and that Travis had never done anything like this before. She says Whitney had no indication that Travis might do something like this. Her lawyer told ABC News, quote, "Something came out of this man and he broke. That's it. When that man picked up those girls, his babies, he did not have a plan to kill them. There's nothing that indicates that he did." End quote. She further explained that when Travis picked them up, he spoke with Whitney for about 15 to 20 minutes and confirmed that he'd be back at 8 p.m. Whitney believes, quote, "He was a loving man, but something broke, and whatever monster came out of him, it's something that he was trained to do in the military." End quote. Normally, I try my best to reserve most of my opinions for after the main episode, but with the narratives I'm seeing online, I feel like it's very important to discuss this here. I also think I do have quite a unique insight into these very complex feelings, insight into how it feels to have someone you love and care for harm the person you love most. The person most impacted by this, outside of the children who lost their lives, which of course is a tragedy, is their mom, Whitney Decker. The person whose opinion matters most right now in this case is Whitney Decker. She lost all 3 of her children and their father in an instant. She's not screaming that Travis is a monster who deserves the worst this world has to offer. Through statements made by her lawyer, she's explaining the circumstances that led to this happening, and I implore you to listen to her. I believe that Whitney is trying to discuss the issue of preventing horrific acts like this from happening again, specifically prevention through mental health services. In creating this episode, I am taking the lead from Whitney. I'm choosing to approach this case with the empathy that she's chosen to extend to Travis, despite having every right not to. Of course, Travis has not been convicted of these crimes, but assuming that he is guilty, I am in no way excusing his behavior. What happened to those girls is an absolute tragedy that should have never happened. Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia should be here today. They should have had the chance to grow up and experience so much more than they had in their short lives. But like Whitney is saying through these statements made by her lawyer, this may have been preventable had our systems not failed Travis. Had our veterans here in the U.S. had better access to mental health services many of them greatly need. I'm going to read to you what I believe is a very important series of statements made to the media about Travis and this case. Her lawyer explained, in part, quote, "Information has come to light since the girl's abduction that Travis exhibited concerning behavior at work on Friday and had been trying to utilize emergency veteran services to no avail. Unfortunately, this knowledge was not conveyed to Whitney until after the girls went missing, or she would have not allowed the girls to go with him. What many do not seem to understand, or perhaps care to believe, is that there were no red flags that would have led Whitney to have any concerns with Travis taking the girls for his short visitation, limited to our region. There was no domestic violence ever. Travis did not yell at the girls or abuse them in any way. He was an active and loving father until he wasn't, and no one knows when that changed. To blame Whitney, the courts, or the state children's protective services is folly. It is also cruel and does nothing to help Whitney or our community. Whitney has 3 things pushing her forward at this moment. 1, she wants the memories of her sweet baby girls honored. 2, she wants the Amber Alert system fixed in Washington state to prevent further tragedies such as this one. And 3, she wants the mental health resources for veterans to be fixed. As Whitney has said, the system failed us all, end quote. In another statement, she added, quote, when there is a parent with limited visitation that has this history of mental health issues and is a military veteran with the necessary training to kill 100 different ways, that Amber Alert should have been issued, end quote. And really, Whitney and her lawyer aren't alone in this. Central Washington Veterans Counseling has partnered with Whitney's lawyer to release the following statement, quote, if Travis had come to CWVC seeking services within the last 6 months, we would have had no choice but to refer him to the Yakima Vet Center for bi-weekly in-person sessions, possibly supplemented with telehealth, or place him on our wait list due to lack of funding to support veterans in this area. Meanwhile, we are still without sufficient alternative resources. I can't help but wonder how many veterans in our community might want to seek mental health support but don't even try, because they know that there are no therapists available at the VA clinic. Central Washington Veterans Counseling is unable to take on new clients due to funding constraints, and community providers are booking 6 months out. This isn't a hidden crisis. We've been vocal about it in the media, and with local, state, and federal officials. If we don't get a 3-month extension by the end of this month, we will be discharging 100 veterans as of now from our services. We warned them that we had reached a critical point. We told them lives were at stake. They did nothing. End quote. Now, shortly before recording this episode, Sheriff Morrison released the following statement, quote, there's some that may be sympathetic to his cause, which I think would be misguided. I mean, he's accused of murder, not just once, but 3 times, and he is a danger. So for those that might have sympathy towards him, please allow us the opportunity for us to do our job, end quote. I think it's important to address that this is an extremely complex issue. Again, I don't think anyone is saying what Travis did was okay or justified in any way. This is a horrific tragedy that took place. His behavior is not acceptable. And I don't think Whitney or her lawyer would ever encourage anyone to hide Travis or prevent his apprehension. But I do think that you can look at this as absolutely unacceptable and a tragedy while still looking at the larger picture of why this may have happened in an effort to prevent it from happening again. I think what Whitney, her lawyer, and this organization are trying to do is talk about reform. Reforming our Amber Alert systems to be more inclusive, and reforming the way this country treats our veterans. Again, to me, it seems like they are truly focusing on reform and prevention. And really, I just have to say it bluntly. If people can create seemingly never-ending content about why Ted Bundy killed, or perhaps more applicable here, why Chris Watts did what he did in an effort to better understand how these things happen, why can't Whitney, again the person most impacted by this, advocate for reform and prevention? Whitney Decker has every right and every reason to be angry and unforgiving, but she's chosen to focus on how to prevent this from happening to another family, to more innocent children. And I, for one, think that's a beautiful thing in the face of something as horrific as this. That she can see beyond the pain she's feeling to try to help others from facing the same horrors she has. And I'm far from alone in supporting Whitney. People really have rallied behind her, and I hope you will too. A friend of Whitney's has created a GoFundMe to help with expenses, living costs for Whitney to take time off work, and the legal costs related to Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia. As of recording this episode, over $1.2 million has been donated. It's truly incredible the love that is outpoured for Whitney and these girls. Now, I do think it's important to add that the description of the GoFundMe states that Whitney is not open to speaking with the media at this time, and that future updates from her family will be shared on their GoFundMe page. Of course, I'll have that linked in the episode description should you want to donate or watch the page for updates. Which brings me right to our call to action, or in this case, calls to action. If you have never shared a case that you've listened to on this podcast, this is the one you have to share. We don't know if Travis is still alive, but we do know that he has not been found. Please share this case. He is considered to be a threat to others and a threat to himself, Your share could prevent more loss and more tragedy for this family or another. If you do live in the area, please check any cameras you may have for footage of Travis Decker. Authorities have reiterated that there is no lead too small in this case. I also implore you to speak out about services for our veterans in this country should you feel compelled to do so. Call your representatives, volunteer, donate, get involved. Speak out so that hopefully our veterans can get the care and services that they deserve so that something like this never happens again. As a reminder, as of recording this episode, 32-year-old Travis Caleb Decker is wanted on 3 counts of first-degree murder, and law enforcement officials are currently searching for him. He is 5'8", weighs 190 pounds, and has black hair and brown eyes. However, authorities do believe he may have changed his appearance in some fashion. He was last seen wearing a tan or green t-shirt and dark-colored shorts. Authorities do believe it's possible that he's going by his middle name, Caleb. If you do see Travis Caleb Decker, call 911 immediately. It is unknown if he is armed, but he is considered to be dangerous, so law enforcement officials urge you to not attempt to approach him. If you have information about his whereabouts, you can call the Chelan County Sheriff's Office tip line at 509-667-6845. There will also be a link in the episode description where you can submit tips online. There is a $20,000 reward being offered by the U.S. Marshal's Office for information leading to Travis Decker. But, as always, thank you, I love you, and I'll talk to you next time. Voices for Justice is hosted and produced by me, Sarah Turney, and is a Voices for Justice media original. If you love what we do here, please don't forget to follow, rate, and review the show in your podcast player. It's an easy and free way to help us and help more people find these cases in need of justice.
What they did to your family, you're lucky to make it out alive.
Streaming on Peacock.
These men are going to come after me. Taking them out is my only chance.
Put a bullet in her head.
From the co-creator of Ozark.
Looks like a family was running drugs.
Execution-style killing is rare for the Keys. Any leads on who they might have been running for?
The cartel killed my family. I'm gonna kill them. All of them.
MIA. Streaming now. Only on Peacock.
Zootopia 2 has come home to Disney+.
Let's go!
Get ready for a new case.
We're gonna crack this case and prove we're the greatest partners of all time!
New friends.
You are... Gary the Snake. And your last name? The Snake.
Dream Team. Hit new habitats.
Zootopia has a secret reptile population.
You can watch the record-breaking phenomenon at home.
You're clearly working it.
Zootopia 2. Now available on Disney+, rated PG.
Welcome to the Secret After Show. The studio door is open, and our emotional support puppies Heber and Popcorn are in the room. Let's go right to the case. This was a complicated episode. It really was, and I do expect to get a little bit of hate for it because of the way that I approached it, which I would argue is the way that Whitney is approaching this. Like I said in the main episode, normally a lot of the things that I would reserve for this after show, I put into the main feed because I do think it needs to be discussed. There are nuances to these things. This is a very complex case when it comes to Travis. Again, I will say for the record that in no way, in any shape or form in any universe would I defend a child murderer. That is what Travis Decker is accused of. But again, I'll argue that if these serial killers like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer can have podcast after podcast, hour after hour of content explaining their childhoods, how they grew up, wetting the bed, killing animals, and everything in between, I mean, my God, I can't even imagine how many hours there are about Ted Bundy trying to understand what he did. So why can't we apply the same thing in terms of understanding and prevention for the future to a veteran who seems to have snapped? In the end, I believe that Whitney's feelings are more important than ours. And I'll get off my soapbox and just leave it at that. Now, I guess I am jumping back on my soapbox for just a second. I had another thing on my list here, that Whitney not wanting to speak to the media and setting that boundary, speaking through a lawyer, is so valid. I can't even imagine what she's feeling right now. And I will say, I just made a video about this on social media, that this, being in the media, being a public spokesperson for your family, is extremely traumatic. It is trauma on top of pain. And again, I would not wish this on my worst enemy. I fully condone family members speaking through lawyers, setting hard boundaries with the media, and protecting themselves when they are facing something as horrific as this. The next thing on my list was, please don't make videos saying that someone was found. Please stop giving TikTok such a bad name. All these damn TikTokers making these stupid videos that aren't truth. It's really upsetting, and it hurts the entire cause. It hurts this case. It hurts those children. It hurts independent media. Just don't do it. Unless you have many confirmed sources that someone is found, stop saying these people are found. You are hurting these cases. But let's move on to media discrepancies. There were a few. I did address it in the episode. We had this neighbor coming out saying that there was possible domestic abuse, while Whitney's lawyer was directly saying that that was not the cause at all, or the case at all, I should say. So, of course, that remains confusing, and I don't have much of an explanation for that, only to say that there were discrepancies. There were also some discrepancies about when Travis and Whitney got married, when they divorced. So I really just, like I said in the episode, went with these direct statements from Whitney's lawyer. On to our hero of the episode, which will come as no surprise. I chose Whitney. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of standouts in here. I will say that the whole Amber Alert situation was extremely disappointing, and it's hard. It's a double-edged sword, right? I understand why there are such harsh restrictions on Amber Alerts. You want these alerts to be rare and special so that people pay attention to them. But when you have someone saying, hey, I think that they are in danger, this man, their father, has a clear history of mental illness, and he is not acting in the way that he normally acts, I do think that that should qualify as these children possibly being in danger. But of course, hindsight's 2020. I'm not trying to Monday quarterback or whatever. I'm so bad at sports terminology, please forgive me. But there has to be some better way of doing these things. But again, Whitney is our hero of this episode. I put 1 for having strong boundaries about not speaking to the media. I think that is incredibly brave because it does come with a lot of harsh comments. It comes with a lot of judgment. It comes with a lot of speculation. It's not an easy boundary to set, but she has. And I think that's one reason why she's a hero of this episode. 2, of course, for advocating for reform and prevention when she has every right not to, when she has every right to just be a total basket case inside of her house and never leave again, and cry and cry and cry until the end of time. She is instead taking that grief and channeling it into something that will help other people. Again, I know this might be a hot take, but as someone who understands the complexities of loving someone who has taken the person you loved most in this world, I'm choosing to support Whitney. But with all of that being said, if you don't hate me by now and are still here, let's move on to our segment of hope. This comes from Hector Gonzalez at ABC 15 News, and the title reads, Camper Rescued Near Sedona After Being Missing for 3 Days. The article reads that a woman has been rescued after she was reported missing for several days while hiking near Sedona. On Friday, June 13th, the Coconino County Sheriff's Office received a report of a missing camper in the area known as the Edge of the World. Deputies learned that 32-year-old Janelle Banda had left her campsite and was believed to have descended into a nearby side canyon, but never returned. So a bunch of agencies joined this search. There were multiple law enforcement agencies. They had search dogs. They had aerial support. Again, this is a pretty rural area. Sedona is like a really popular hiking spot, and it doesn't get as hot as Phoenix in the summer. But it is still dangerous. It's still an extremely dangerous thing to do. Hiking in most parts of Arizona in the summer is not advised. And this woman is extremely lucky because on Monday, June 16th, they found her. She was dehydrated and suffering from some minor injuries. And she did have to be taken out by helicopter. It's not like most crews can get into these areas very easily. Most hiking rescues that I see in Arizona are done by some type of aerial support, usually a helicopter. And that's really it. This one is a short one, but I wanted to make it our segment of hope, one, because of course she was found alive, and two, to highlight how rare and amazing that is. I cannot tell you how many people over the years have died because they were hiking in the heat, because they got lost in a desert area. And I will implore you, if you are visiting Arizona in the hot months, which I honestly don't know why you would, do not go hiking. I don't care how skilled you are. I don't care about your survival skills. I don't care if you sit in a sauna every single day and you're fine. Hiking in the desert is not safe in the summer. Even up in Sedona, I know it's a bit cooler up there, like I said, but it can still reach pretty high temperatures this time of year. So again, it makes our segment of hope because she made it despite really all odds. But as always, thank you, I love you, and I'll talk to you next time.